So I'm a big fan of the Dark Souls series. I only have the platinum in the second and third game, but I do have a lot of hours in the first game. I also have the platinum in Bloodborne and several Souls-like games as well. So I decided to go to the PlayStation Store to try to find another one to platinum. And that's where I found Clash Artifacts of Chaos. What really stood out to me was the art style of this game. It's really the reason why I chose this one. I thought it looked super interesting. I don't think many people know about this game. When I was trying to look it up before buying it, there was barely any videos on it. And when looking at the trophy list on PSN profiles, there's only about 2,000 people who own the game, and the average completion percentage is only 8%. Clash Artifacts of Chaos has a very basic trophy list, only 22 trophies including the platinum. Most of them are for just beating the bosses, and a couple of miscellaneous things. After a quick tutorial, we get thrown into the strange world of Xenozoic, where we get introduced to the main character Pseudo, who we find in a bad situation.
That dude got some. Poor guy.
After doing some exploring, we actually run into an old man getting beat up in front of his grandson. And this little owl thing becomes our little sidekick throughout the entire game. And I don't think he has a name because literally everybody just calls him Boy throughout the entire game.
What is that thing?
And now that we have our new buddy, we go to the castle of Xenozoic to speak with Gemini. And she wants to take the boy from us, and when we refuse, she just throws us out of the castle. So after drying off and doing some more exploring, we run into this guy named the Claw who snatches up the boy. And after defeating him, we get our first trophy. And after finding his friend, we beat him up and get the boy back. When we stroll into town, we run into this trader named Io, and he tells us that we can't fight Gemini right now because she has this artifact called the Artifact of Pain. Not only does she, but her 3 bodyguards as well, so I need to find 4 shield artifacts in order to fight all 4 of them. And in order to find the 4 artifact shields, I have to defeat 4 different enemies that are holding onto them throughout the world of Xenozoic. Throughout the world there are these totems you can interact with, and they let you fight an enemy with a special attack, and if you defeat the enemy, you unlock that attack you can use during normal fights. And after unlocking the 4th special attack, I unlock my 2nd trophy. A little later into the story, we end up seeing the boy's brother, who's not very happy that their grandfather dies and blames the boy, so we have to beat him up. And after beating him up, he tells us about the director, a guy who has one of the artifacts we're looking for. On our way to the director's hideout, we run into this ginormous guy named Regs, and after beating him, we get another trophy. In the game, there are these tents that act as bonfires, and when you sleep at them, you wake up in a dream world. And in the dream world, there's these body parts you can collect, which are pretty much armor, and for collecting 14 of them, I get a trophy.
Here we go, and this should give us a trophy right here for completing or finding half of them. There we go. 14 body parts, there's 28 total.
Once we make it to the director's hideout, we fight him, beat him up in front of his little crowd he's got here, and earn ourselves another trophy. While fighting the director, Pseudo got poisoned, and this is where we find out that the boy has his healing power, which will really come in handy later on.
You're very weak.
I owe him. And you.
It's enough. I'm back.
After Pseudo gets back on his feet, we get a trophy for creating our 5th weapon.
I could get a trophy for just one more weapon. Yes, sir. The Pride of Muzah. Create 5 weapons.
Good roads.
Well, after defeating a boss, I could go sleep at a tent and go back into the dream world and fight a nightmare version of that boss. And that goes for every boss in the game. Not every boss has a trophy tied to the nightmare version, but I do have to beat all of them in order to unlock the last nightmare boss, which does have a trophy tied to it. This first nightmare boss I fight right here does have a trophy tied to them. It's a nightmare version of the Claw, which was the first boss I fought in the game.
Oh, there we go. Red in the Tooth and Claw. Defeat Nightmare Claw. Sick.
After returning to the regular world, I get a trophy for obtaining my 9th piece of armor. After obtaining my new armor, I find myself in another boss fight, which unlocks me another trophy after I defeat them.
Over the moon. Defeat Moon Sun.
So remember when I said the boy had healing powers? Well, now they're going to come into use. There's these giant turtles around the map that are blocking these paths, and he can use his ability to heal them so they can get up and walk away. Behind the turtle, we have our friend Io here, who gives us some information about another creature that has a shield artifact who was actually pushed away from Gemini for being too powerful. While exploring the area, I got a trophy for reaching the highest elevation in the salt marsh. After some time, we end up running into the outcast that Io was telling us about. After making easy work of the so-called dangerous guy, we end up getting a trophy. And after defeating him, he tells us that he no longer has the artifact. He actually threw it in the ocean and a whale swallowed it, so now we have to go find this whale to get it back. I find the whale on the beach and he gives me a big story about how he's been around for thousands of years and there's no point of fighting Gemini because there will always be a new Gemini. So Pseudo pretty much just says, I don't care. So the whale just throws up the shield and lets us move on.
Is all you require?
So icky.
Thanks, big guy.
After speaking to the whale, I went back to a previous area to get a trophy I missed for reaching the highest elevation of the northern ruins. While progressing through the story, I found this merchant and I was able to get another trophy for obtaining 18 pieces of armor. I also found the last special attack for another trophy. And I got another trophy for reaching the highest point in the last area of the game.
Just keep going up and up. Keep on going. Corwood Hill. Reach the highest elevation point in Corwood territory.
And right after that, I found the last body part, which gave me my final collectible trophy.
This should be my last body part I need for this trophy. Vivid Dreams. Obtain 28 body parts for the Night Avatar.
Now it's time to fight the boss that has the last shield artifact that I need, and also earn myself a trophy.
Come on, just one more hit. Boom. Winner. Defeat Axelon.
With all the shields that I need and all the bosses completed, I decided to run through all the nightmare bosses. The nightmare bosses really aren't different from the regular bosses, they just have more health pretty much. It's all I really noticed. Nightmare Moon Sun was really the only nightmare boss that gave me trouble. Actually, gave me the most trouble of any boss period in the game. He just is overpowered and has a lot of health. He's also one of the bosses that give you a trophy for the nightmare version.
Here we go, this weapon just OP. Total Eclipse. Defeat Nightmare Moon Sun. One more dark boss to go.
After defeating the nightmare version of Moon Sun, we now unlock the nightmare version of Gemini. And after defeating her, we get another trophy.
Oh my god. If I can get the finisher, this is it. There we go. There we go. Broken Reflection. Defeat Nightmare Gemini. Now I could go defeat the regular Gemini. Finish the game.
Now with all 4 of the Great Shield artifacts and all of the bosses defeated, I'm finally ready to go ahead and fight Gemini at her castle. Before I could fight Gemini, I need to fight 3 of her bodyguards, and this is the reason why I needed all those Great Shield artifacts, because I need to use 1 on each of the bosses going up to Gemini, and also 1 on her. All her bodyguards or bosses I've already fought, so there's nothing new here. It's all pretty easy, simple, just ran through all of them. After running through her bodyguards, now it's time to fight her and get another trophy.
Let me get this finisher. Omni of Vincent Armor? Amor?
And for the final trophy of the game, all I have to do is go back to the very beginning and use this parry machine and hit all the targets with these rocks.
These little targets here. Okay. Alright. Give me a second here. Alright, 1. It's nope. Steps to the side and it messes up the... There we go, okay. Okay, that's gonna be the tough one here. And no. It's okay, let me just get it here first try and no, okay. Aha! Target practice. And completionist. There we go.